It is nearly midnight and Fabrizio Romano has dropped a big update on Manchester United. Ugarte loan deal with obligation to buy advancing, could be very close, could be a here we go today, because this video is probably going to go out post midnight. So Tuesday, you never know. I'd be very shocked if we don't get Ugarte. BERGE is off, McTominay refusing to leave, a couple other stories. What's the latest on Sancho going as well? Some updates on Pelistri going, updates on Casemiro and more. So this is going to be a 10-minute roundup with a particular focus on this breaking news coming in from Romano, Florian Plettenberg, a couple other sources on Ugarte. So Romano tweeted this at about 20 past 11. He said, understand Manchester United are working on a loan with obligation to buy for Manuel Ugarte. Negotiations to continue with this formula as Jorge Mendes is leading talks with PSG. Ugarte wants United, pushing a lot after terms agreed in July. Now, one thing I will say is if Romano is saying that McTominay won't go to Fulham and might not leave, United have said to PSG, we cannot buy Ugarte unless you, one, lower the price, or two, we sell Scott McTominay. So PSG might be like, damn, we're going to have to do a loan deal. I feel like United have been pushing and pushing and pushing on this one. And I think PSG want him gone. Their player wants gone. He is not in the plans. So it's almost in United's hands where we know that, to be honest, they want the player gone as much as we want him, where we can kind of get a deal done better in our favours. Ugarte agreed personal terms in July. He was told to leave PSG in May. Jorge Mendes is a very good agent pushing for the move. And Romano says now we're working on a loan with an obligation to buy. That's what's being worked on. It's been suggested by good French sources that PSG could do a loan deal. Maybe the obligation to buy will be higher because we get a loan. I'm not sure. But it was also said by Florian Plettenberg, concrete negotiations are ongoing between PSG and United. A loan with an obligation to buy is a possible scenario to finalise the deal for Ugarte. The deal structure was already discussed with United and remains on the table. I think the fact that, we're getting a late update from Florian Plettenberg and Romano or Manuel Ugarte, and now that a loan deal was being, negotiated, and earlier today we got told there was a big meeting and there was some advancements that Jorge Mendes is pushing the deal. I'd be very surprised if this doesn't happen. I think PSG are now willing to do a loan deal. That's confirmed by Romano and Florian Plettenberg, two of the best sources of information. We want to do a loan deal. The player wants to move. I think something gets sorted soon. I think this deal gets over the line. I think it gets sorted because we know Ugarte's got no place at PSG, and now Sander Berge is off the table. We don't really have an alternative. I think there's that pressure to get it done. So I think Ugarte to United could be done very soon. I think they will break through soon. I generally would be shocked if we don't get Ugarte. He wants to move. He's not interested in other clubs. He really wants Manchester United. It's a bit like Amrabat. Really wants United, and it dragged out and it dragged out and it dragged out, and we finally got Amrabat on loan because we couldn't buy him. Could that be a Ugarte situation? It was also said earlier today that Ugarte is still high on United's list, and obviously there's ongoing negotiations as well. And I saw this tweet from United faithfuls. Man United under the previous regime, what we would have done. We would have spent 75 million on Branthwaite instead of Ugarte Manchester for 60 million. We would have signed Ugarte for 55 million. We wouldn't have beat PSG to any euro, and we wouldn't have signed Obi Martin. What Ineos have done is they've walked away from Branthwaite, got Ugarte Manchester for 15 million less. They're probably getting Ugarte on loan instead of paying 55 million for him. Beat Real Madrid to any euro. And we signed youngsters like Obi Martin. I've been really impressed with this transfer window. And I think Xerxes was a really good bit of business from Ineos, because that was definitely such a Ineos signing where you look at all the data and Xerxes stands out as someone. I think we would have just gone for another striker we gave no service to under Murta and Arnold as well. So interesting there, but I have been impressed with the Ineos regime, particularly if we can get this Ugarte sort of loan deal over the line. I think it's going to happen. I think there could be a here we go soon for Ugarte. I think the fact that Romano is dropping really late at night, Florian Plettenberg, that we're now in negotiations over a loan deal, PSG willing to do a loan deal, that's easy to sort out. I think we could get a breakthrough soon with both clubs eager to get the saga over. So let's talk about other transfer news. Juventus has inquired about Jadon Sancho today, said Padella. Now, interestingly, Chiesa has been linked to going to Chelsea. Juventus have told Chiesa he's got no place in the squad. He needs to leave if he gets minutes. La-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. Sancho has interest from PSG. He did have interest from Juventus, but it was always linked to the Chiesa exit. Potentially, there could be some movements there on Sancho. As of now, Sky Sports is saying, as it stands, Sancho will stay at United. Romano said that 60% Sancho stays, 40% he leaves. Eric Ten Hag is more than happy to sell Sancho. Ineos are more than happy to sell Sancho. Sancho himself probably wants to go because he knows he's not going to be a big starter in Ten Hag's plans. He's been dropped from the squad for the last game. It's just a situation of we aren't going to sell Sancho unless you offer us a fair price. We're not doing silly loan deals. We want a fair price. We want a fair bid. And I think Ineos have every reason to demand that. Yes, he didn't have the best 2-3 seasons at United, but even Havertz at Chelsea, and Chelsea still got 65 million for him, and he's been very good at Arsenal. There's no doubt in my mind that Sancho's a very good player, and that, I would like 40 million for him. Yeah, go at set 35 million for him. If Oliver skips 25 million, James Sancho is easily 35 million pounds. So hopefully something gets done there. So let's talk about this McTominay Sander Berge kind of drama that's been going on today. Scott McTominay has turned down 2 proposals in the last few hours. He is still waiting for Napoli, said Padella. So obviously there was a report earlier today that Fulham wanted McTominay. They're willing to pay 30 million. They were coming back in for a third bid for McTominay. And then all of a sudden, apparently McTominay told Fulham today, no, I don't want to move. And that's why Fulham are going to go Sander Berge. So there was reports earlier today that Fulham were going to make a third bid. McTominay wanted Fulham, la-di-da, la-di-da, la-di-da. McTominay's turned around to Fulham and he said, no, I don't want to move. And they've got to now sign Sander Berge, who's our alternative. That's apparently what's happened. Anyway, apparently McTominay only wants Napoli or to stay at United. He only wants to leave United for a big club, and obviously Napoli is a big club. It was said that McTominay refused to leave Man United. Fulham were informed of his intentions yesterday, and United respect his decision and will not be forcing the player out. Chelsea forcing Conor Gallagher, who's been there since he's 6, Chalobah, that's been his since he was 8, out the club. I mean, Chelsea Football Club, completely off topic, disgrace. Chalobah being forced out. Gallagher was forced out. The way they treat some of their players, calling out Chilwell, basically telling him to leave. But Chalobah and Gallagher have been there since they were like 6 and 8 years old. Yet your racist Enzo Fernandez is your captain. And the guy that's now untouchable, now the face of the club, embarrassing. But back to United, McTominay, I think we should sell him. I'd like to sell him, but he can offer a lot as a squad player, so we don't need to force him out. We should be able to get 25 to 30 million for him. There is interest from other clubs. Conte pushing Napoli to do business. We'll see what happens there. But McTominay is only interested in leaving United if it's a club like Napoli, where he thinks it's a big club with an interesting project. I think McTominay thinks he's bigger than Fulham. And to be fair, West Ham, Newcastle, they've been in for McTominay in the past, and they're a lot bigger clubs than Fulham. So you get that. So obviously Romano has confirmed that McTominay's potential move to Fulham is off, and that Fulham are close to signing Sander Berge for a fee of 20 million plus 5 means Fulham are no longer moving for McTominay, said Laurie Whitwell. That's not the end of the world. I like Sander Berge, but at the end of the day, Berge or Ugarte is the better player. Berge is better on the ball, but Ugarte is the better player. Ugarte suits what Ten Hag wants to do in and out of possession better, probably as well. Although Berge is definitely better in possession and got the 6'4" that I like. And Berge for 20 million was a deal that I was very open to. People are trying to banter us that Berge is going to Fulham. Berge is going to Fulham because we want Ugarte. We're only ever going to get Berge if we didn't get Ugarte. So people are trying to banter us that Berge is going to Fulham. I'm really going to lose sleep over not signing Sander Berge. I tell you what, it's not Frankie de Jong. It's not, Super Mendes, Subi-do, Liverpool fans. It's Sander Berge. No Man United fan cares that Sander Berge is going to Fulham because Ugarte's always been the priority. It's not that he rejected us, it's that we've been focusing on Ugarte. I think the fact that Sander Berge is going to Fulham gives me 99.99% confidence that United know they're getting Ugarte. The fact that today United are negotiating a loan deal with PSG for Ugarte, which is really close, and Sander Berge is now off to Fulham, who's our Ugarte alternative, says to me, Man United may have sold Sander Berge. It's very unlikely we've probably got Ugarte. It may be that United are so confident that the Ugarte signing is almost done and over the line now that PSG are willing to do a loan deal, that's why Sander Berge has now got his move to Fulham done. Or it could be linked with McTominay rejecting Fulham, who knows. But Fulham make a 20 million bid with add-ons for Sander Berge. And I think the fact that Sander Berge is going, who's the Ugarte alternative, is a strong suggestion that Ugarte is about to be done. The final agreement for Pellistri will also be finalised in the next few hours, and the player could arrive in Greece as early as tomorrow. So Pellistri deal is expected to be finalised early morning. He could arrive in Greece very soon. Adios, Pellistri. I wish you the best in Greece. 8.5 million deal with a sell-on clause and buyback clause. And in regards to other stories, obviously I covered the Jadon Sancho news. There's obviously reports coming out that while Manchester United are open to offers for Antony and Casemiro, they're unlikely to leave. Man United are open to offers for both Maguire and Lindelof, but both players want to stay put at Manchester United. Lindelof believes if he stays as a free agent and runs down his contract, he will be getting better deals coming in. And one source is saying that Man United could push to try and get Ugarte ahead of the Brighton game at the weekend. However, no confirmation on that. It depends how negotiations go with PSG. So that is your 10-minute Manchester United news and transfer news roundup. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe with the post notification bell on, because I think we're going to get some big breaking Ugarte news soon. Maybe a here we go. And in my I've got a video planned for when we get the here we go on Ugarte, which is going to give you everything about why I think it's going to be a good sign for United. Bye.